This is Visitor's Book, and I'm Maija, your host and a journalist from Finland. Like always, we're going to be meeting with diplomats and foreigners, and we're going to find out what they're up to here in Pakistan. So let's go. So today, we're going to be meeting with Mrs. Ghada Ahmed, the wife of the Egyptian ambassador, Mr. Ahmed Fadel Yakoub. And here she is. Hello, Ghada.
Hello, Maija. How are you?
Good.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you for having me. What a beautiful dress you're wearing.
Thank you. You're lovely yourself.
Thank you. So, shall we sit down somewhere?
Yeah, sure. Let's go to the garden.
Yeah. What a lovely garden you have here.
Thank you.
And also, by the way, Eid Mubarak.
Thank you very much. It's pretty good weather for the season.
Yeah. It's not too hot anymore at this time of the day. So I noticed you have some bunnies.
We do. Actually, they were in the house even before we arrived. I came here and they were already here, so they are the original inhabitants of the house.
Oh, that's so cute. So how long have you been in Pakistan now?
A year and 7 months now.
Okay, that's not that long actually, right?
No.
How has your experience been so far?
So far, so good. We settled very quickly. It's a very pleasant country, very hospitable. People are very warm, welcoming, and generous.
Yeah.
You know, I just felt so much at home. There's a lot in common with Egypt.
Yeah.
So
sure.
I felt so much at home. We settled right away.
Yeah. Where are you from in Egypt?
In Alexandria.
Oh wow, that's a wonderful city, I'm sure. Unfortunately, I've never been, but I've heard a lot.
Oh, no, it's really a pleasant city. It has its own history.
Yeah.
It was built, of course, as you may guess from the name, by Alexander the Great.
Yeah.
So it has its own unique, Roman feel.
Yeah. Oh wow, that's amazing. So you mentioned there's a lot of similarities between Pakistan and Egypt. Do you find yourself understanding the language as well a little bit, because there's a lot of Arabic influences in Urdu, or is that too difficult?
I don't understand the spoken because it's too fast for me. But the written road signs and everything, sometimes the news, I find the Arabic words and I make up the context. So I can figure out what's going on from a few words.
Okay, that's good. So tell me a little bit about your life here. What do you do here on a daily basis?
On a daily basis, I have a number of responsibilities. Of course, the first one of them is my house and my family. The second is my my duties as the spouse of the ambassador. Yeah. So we have functions to attend, we have events to host, things cultural related to Egypt and related to building relationships with the Pakistan. And I have to be there all the time. And I also have my own I would say my own activities. Yeah. Because we, the spouses of heads of missions, ambassadors, high commissioners, and some heads of international organizations, spouses got together and we formed a group. Okay. Yeah, heads of diplomatic missions spouses group. Yeah. To which I'm the president. I'm the head of this group. Great. So that keeps me busy also. Yeah. We have some interesting activities. At the beginning, we formed this group. Of course, not all ambassadors, not all high commissioners have their spouses with them. Yeah. So it's only a group of us. Yeah, because not for all of it, it's not like it's not a family station for everyone yet, right? Yes. Yeah. So those of us who are here and would like to get together, this is what our group is formed of. Okay. So we have our social gatherings, we have our own activities, we have our projects. We have a couple of projects that we have worked on and we're still working on. Okay. We made a book donation to the National Library of Pakistan just 2 weeks ago during Ramadan. So, but it wasn't such a big collection, a big contribution, because it was the private collections, our own private, collections. Okay. So we got some whatever we have, and we made it a point that it had a theme, and the theme was promoting our cultures to the Pakistani community. So it was all written by national writers from whichever country, all the contributing countries. And we made this donation in Ramadan. We also have another project that we're still working on, which is a cookbook.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. It brings together a lot of recipes, more than 130 recipes from 48 entities, embassies and international organizations. And we made it also our theme that all the dishes are the ingredients are internationally available.
Okay.
So nobody would find it difficult just to use any recipe and try it.
Yeah.
And we also try to represent our cultures, dishes that we cook every day that are very representative of our cultures. And that's also a very interesting project, and it should come out, inshallah, sometime in maybe September after the holidays.
Great. And where will it be available then?
In Pakistan, here. Okay, because our aim is to publish the book here and sell it here, and the revenues would go to charity also here. That's the main aim, and we're trying to look for charity organizations that would also promote the Pakistani individual.
Yeah.
The well-being of the person, whether it be a child, man or a woman, it doesn't matter, as long as it helps the well-being of the person, the Pakistani person. And that's our little contribution to the Pakistani community.
That sounds really wonderful. And you mentioned that you also help organize yourself many cultural events here at the embassy. Is that correct?
Actually, what we do here is there are things that the embassy works on a larger scale. So in that case, I would rather stop, and not maybe the ambassador would do that.
So where were you posted before you came to Pakistan?
The ambassador was posted as ambassador to Mauritania, West Africa.
Wow.
And before that to Liberia, also West Africa.
Okay.
And before that as consul to Kuwait, and as consul also in Argentina.
Wow.
And then also before that in Benin and Denmark. That was the beginning of the career.
That's like all over the world.
All over the world, yeah. But this is our first time in Central Asia.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how would you compare all those different experiences, like so many different cultures, right?
Not one is like the other. Of course, humanity is the same. People's personality deep down is the same. But each country is unique in its own way. It's not only the civilization and the history. Again, it's the life that people go through.
Yeah.
There is a lot in common. Here in Pakistan, people are used to rely on farming, and the same was in Egypt. We both share the same religion, and this has a lot, no matter how many countries you go to, all the Muslim countries will have, the same broad lines of personality. So this forms a basis that we can share, Egyptians and Pakistanis.
Yeah.
What else? We also share the same colonial heritage. Yeah. We've also seen some English occupation.
That's true.
British occupation. And we have even more than that, because the British passed by Egypt and the French.
Yeah.
And we also had the Ottoman Empire for a while. We were part of the empire.
Yeah.
And we were part of the Roman civilization also. And the Muslims, of course, the introduction of Islam by Amr ibn al-As. We also have our own Christian history, very strong Christian history.
That's very true, yeah.
Yeah. Ever since the onset of Christianity, like Jesus Christ and Virgin Mary passed by Egypt during their holy journey, and they stayed there for 4 years. Yeah. And we still have some of the oldest monasteries in the world. Yeah. And we still have the Roman Catholic, the Orthodox, the Egyptian Orthodox, Coptic Orthodox Church in Alexandria. And so we have all these influences, a lot of them.
Yeah, it's a very rich history, huh? So have you gotten the chance to get to know a lot of Pakistanis here? Like, how much do you get to leave the diplomatic enclave, actually.
A lot, actually. And this is another one unique thing in Pakistan, is that the diplomatic community is not so isolated. Unlike other parts of the world, you know, we get a small group of people whom we have a chance to get in contact with, and we never meet other people. In Pakistan, it's different. We meet a lot of people, and people are hospitable. They invite us to their houses, and they come and they pay us visits. So it's they invite us to their weddings.
Yeah, you've been to many weddings here?
Many weddings.
Oh, wow.
Many weddings.
How did you like it?
Very much, very much. Weddings here are very colorful. I love, you know, once you go into a wedding, especially the mendi, all the music and the dancing, even the walima with the colors and the beautiful women and the makeup and everything. It's so glamorous.
Yeah, it is. But the mendi is really something else. It's like a big party.
It's like so the party.
Yeah. Do you have anything similar in Egypt?
Yeah, we have henna, which is like the mendi. Yeah, it's usually for girls only. The bride and her friends, and maybe some family members who happen to be women also. And it's also a very festive and all dancing party. And we also have our mendi decorations, but not in the same way. In a very subtle way. You know, you can only have very little thing, like a little flower, maybe like something like this. Not much. We don't
not the entire hand.
Not the entire hand. Yeah. So for me, that was very interesting here also.
Wow.
So yeah, we do have mendis. Our weddings are different nonetheless. We don't have as many celebrations as we just have at the beginning when people get together and they decide that they would get married, we would have what we call Raid Fatha, which is the family, just the family. They sit together and they read Al-Fatiha. Like good luck, for good luck. And then they sit and they arrange the time that's for the engagement party. And then we have an engagement where they just wear the golden ring in the right hand. So they're only engaged. They can buy a ring, maybe diamond or gold, maybe not, you know, just little gift. And then they start preparing their house. Once the house is ready and everything is ready, then they would sign the contract, the marriage, the nikah contract, which can happen either in a very big event or in a very small event in somebody's house, you know, the bride or the groom's house, or maybe sometimes it's linked to the following event, which is the main wedding. So they just get together once and they have this ma'zoon, this man who writes the contract. At the same time, it's the big wedding. This big wedding is everything. This is the walima. And this is the celebration, this is the dancing and the singing, and everything happens on this particular day. The bride wears white.
Like in the West.
Like in the West. And then she goes home with her groom, and that's the end of our celebrations, you know.
So what would you say, are there any similarities between like the issues that Egyptian women in particular face and Pakistani women maybe? Yes. And I think, to be honest with you, this is universal. You know, women in Egypt and women in Pakistan have come a long way. In Egypt, women, of course, work. They are ministers, they are ambassadors, they head companies, they own companies. We have equal pay. There's no difference between the payment of a man and a woman. Sometimes women who are more hardworking, they earn much, much more. So women for us are, I would say, empowered. And I have seen a lot of Pakistani women whom I would say are also very empowered. Very well educated, they have the money, they have the power, they have they have what it takes to be influential. So this is one thing I can find as a similarity. And at the same time, there are also challenges for women here and there. I was happy that just 3 weeks ago, the Pakistani Senate approved that they raised the age of women to 18. So the marriage
age, because that was really a point that had to be tackled. You know, and coming along this way and coming that far is a point that we should, you know, commend and appreciate here in Pakistan. And we, as an Egyptian embassy, we also had members of this parliament and the Senate getting in contact with us, asking for the fatwa that was issued by the Grand Mufti of Al-Azhar in that regard, because there was actually a fatwa that said this age to 18. So we managed to get them this document, the text of the fatwa, which was used in the Senate as more reason. And many people in the Senate based their approval on the fact that it was approved by Al-Azhar.
Okay, that's
we're happy to be part of this historical step for women in Pakistan.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
Okay, well, it seems the ambassador has arrived at the embassy and she's waiting for us, so let's go.
Excellent. So it's time to take a short break. See you in a bit. Welcome back. We're on our way to meet with the ambassador, so let's go. Such a wonderful building, so beautiful. How long has it been here?
Actually, this is not our first building for the embassy.
Oh, okay.
Our embassy was first in Karachi. And that's the new one at the end of the 70s.
It's such a beautiful compound, so green.
That's one thing I love about Islamabad. It's so green.
Yeah.
The greenery and the beautiful scenery, the mountains,
I know.
everywhere. It's just like walking in the middle of a forest.
I know. So what's your favorite thing about the city besides the greenery?
And the mountains?
Yeah.
I love shopping too. Yeah, I do a lot of shopping for handicrafts.
Oh, really?
Particularly Pakistani handicrafts, woodwork. I love the woodwork. I love the ceramic.
Great.
Yeah, they have beautiful ceramic, blue and blue and white. I love it. So here we are at the embassy.
Hello.
Maija.
So nice to meet you. Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you.
Thank you. So, Mr. Ambassador, how do you like it here in Pakistan?
Well, actually, we like it, alhamdulillah. We feel at home. And whenever we're asked, how do you feel about Pakistan, whether you like it here, simply we feel at home.
That's amazing. That's great.
Yeah.
Really. And could you tell me a little bit about the kind of work that Egypt actually does here in Pakistan?
Well, actually, we have so many things, to do here in Pakistan. Because as you know, the job of any ambassador, first of all, is to strengthen the relations between the two countries.
Yeah.
So this is my first priority here in Pakistan, is to strengthen further and more the relations between Pakistan and Egypt in every aspect, in commerce and culture and education and of course, politically, everything. This is one point. Secondly, any ambassador or any diplomat, he is the, I would call, the eyes and ears and also mouth of his own country.
That's true.
So this is also the second, job of any ambassador.
Yeah.
So alhamdulillah, we're doing our job here, quite well.
Great. Inshallah. And so you mentioned that you have a scholarship program for Pakistani students. Could you tell me a little bit more about that?
Well, actually, this is one of the areas in which we collaborate with our brothers, the Pakistanis. Actually, we exchange scholarships. We offer scholarships, for example, and Al-Azhar Sharif. Al-Azhar Sharif is one of the most important Islamic institutions in the whole world. Al-Azhar is one of the oldest, if not the oldest, continuous university in the whole world. It's celebrated, it was established actually more than 1,000 years ago. And it is a university that does not only teach religion, but at the same time it teaches everything. It works as any normal university. Students also can get a university degree or even master and bachelor degrees in journalism and commerce and economy, engineering, medicine, everything. But at the same time, they teach religious sciences, I would say. That's why we also offer something like 30 scholarships to students from Pakistan annually. to go to Al-Azhar al-Sharif and study in Al-Azhar.
Right.
But at the same time also it's not just scholarships for students, but we provide training programs for imams and for scholars from Pakistan. From here in Pakistan, they go to Egypt for a training program or for a short program of 3 months, where they can increase their knowledge about the religion, about our own religion, in Sharia, in history, in fiqh, in interpretation of Quran, in hadith, in the science of hadith. And this is actually very important because Al-Azhar represents, I would say, the true Islam.
Yeah.
The true Islam of accepting the others, of tolerance, of refusing violence or extremism, or terrorism. Of course, Al-Azhar, as a well-respected institution by the whole Muslims, by the whole schools of thought in Islam,
that's true,
plays this very important role. So this is an area which is important to work on with our brothers here in Pakistan, because it is related also to the phenomena of extremism and terrorism.
Yeah, absolutely.
Terrorism, we cannot fight terrorism only via security means. Of course, security means are very important, but at the same time, the intellectual battle, the battle of hearts and minds, I think may be more important than the security battle.
Yeah, great. So I couldn't help but notice, but downstairs you have a very interesting picture of Muhammad Ali Jinnah. What is the connection to Egypt?
Well, actually, Muhammad Ali Jinnah, he's the Qaid Azam here in Pakistan. He's one of the greatest personalities of the 20th century. He's well known in Egypt and well respected in Egypt. And actually also the picture that you saw downstairs is it has its historic importance because he visited Egypt in June 1946.
Okay.
Before the partition in 1947. And when he was there in Egypt, he met with the Secretary General of the Arab League at the time, Abdurrahman Pasha Azzam. He met with the Grand Imam of Al-Azhar al-Sharif, and here it comes also the importance of Al-Azhar to the whole Muslims. So Muhammad Ali Jinnah, even he realized the importance of Egypt, and he realized the importance of Al-Azhar to get their support in his struggle to get independence or achieve the partition and the creation of Pakistan. So he met also with the Egyptian politicians, with the intellectuals, with the political elite of Egypt at the time, leaders of different political parties. And of course, he spoke about the aspiration of the Pakistani people that we have, and he spoke, of course, about the Lahore resolution that we have already opted for partition. And he wanted the support of Egypt. And of course, he got it.
Yeah.
And that's why immediately after the independence of Pakistan in 1947, Egypt recognized Pakistan and established, after a few months, diplomatic relations by the beginning of 1948. And then we started exchanging ambassadors. So these days, actually, we are also celebrating more than 70 years of establishing diplomatic relations with Pakistan.
Wow.
So this is one of the That's why, I mean, this picture for us is also very important that we have it in our embassy. And we have it also, the same picture, we have it in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs in Egypt.
Really?
And and my colleague, the ambassador of Pakistan in Egypt, Ambassador Mushtaq Shah, he told me that he has got also another copy of the same picture. Yeah.
That's great. And what about the cultural relations? You mentioned that there is a very famous Egyptian singer who had some kind of a yes.
She was a friend of Noor Jahan.
Okay.
That's a side info. But she also sang a poem for Allama Iqbal. But of course it was translated into Arabic, and it's a very famous song. And Kulthum for us is a pillar in Egyptian music and in Arab music in general. Like she had, no one has come close to her until today.
Yeah.
And her this beautiful song stands again as a example of the strong relations that culturally we have with Pakistan.
Yeah. That's really
the song,
interesting.
I mean, is taken from the poetry of, which is under the title Shakwa Gawab Shakwa. And then when it was translated into Arabic, it's titled Hadith al-Ruh, spiritual conversation, I would say. Spiritual conversation.
Okay.
Very beautiful song.
So are there a lot of Pakistanis going to Egypt for other reasons than for the scholarships and studies?
For sure. I mean, so many Pakistanis travel to Egypt as tourists. Just, I mean, they want to, because Egypt is, as you know, I mean, is a country rich of history, ancient pharaonic history, Islamic history, Christian history.
Yeah.
So people go for, I mean, as tourists. Either to visit the religious sites, because we have the religious sites for Muslims who want to go and visit the shrines, for example, of the Hussein alayhi salam, because the head of Al-Hussein is buried in Egypt. Others also from the Buhara community here in Pakistan, for example, our brothers in the Buhara community, they go to Egypt and they visit certain shrines. Others they go for commerce, others they go for business, others they go for just, I mean, entertainment, because we have so many beautiful places in Egypt like Sharm el-Sheikh, Hurghada, Dahab, Nuweiba, Taba, Alexandria. All these are very beautiful places for relaxation. As a result, they enjoy beaches, they enjoy, nice evening, good weather. So many Pakistanis, yes, they do. I mean, they go to Egypt and to visit Egypt for different reasons.
So would you like to have some tea and Eid sweets at the residence?
I would love to.
Okay.
All right, let's go.
All right.
So it's time to take a small break. See you soon. Welcome back. We've reached the residence and it's time to try some of these wonderful sweets. Yeah. Can you tell me a little bit about what this is?
Now, these are our Ramadan sweets. We have here Kunafa, and I've seen it somewhere here in Pakistan. Yeah, and of course all these sweets are made with sugar syrup, pistachio, some kind of dough. Okay, some of them are fried, and some of them are just put in the oven.
Okay, very interesting. Wow.
Usually when we have a long day of fasting, we need some energy.
Yeah.
So sugar helps.
So you have these also during Ramadan then?
Yes, particularly.
Okay, so not only during Eid then?
During Eid we have this.
Okay, I see, yeah.
These are the Eid cookies.
Wonderful.
They are cooked with natural ghee and butter. And of course they are sweet, but not as sweet as normal Pakistani food.
Yeah.
So that's one difference.
So tell me a little bit about how Eid is celebrated in Egypt. Have you noticed any differences between the Pakistani traditions?
Not much.
Yeah?
Not much, because we have to go through the same steps. Of course, we wake up and we go for prayer, and we wear new clothes, especially little kids, are very happy wearing new clothes. They meet friends at the mosque and, the masjid. And once we're out, then we start going through the tours. Usually the young men of the family would get together in prayer, and then they would pass by all the houses. Just to say, good morning, Eid Mubarak for everybody. And usually older people would give idea, which is some money, like a gift for the little kids, that they would go and buy nice stuff. So, and then we would gather again.
And for the ladies as well, also.
And for the husband, should give the wife.
He has to give his wife, and she will tell him that, okay, I need also idea. And then he will tell her that this is only for the kids. He said, well, no, but it's only.
The usual discussion,
right?
It's for everybody.
Great.
It happens.
I'm still a kid,
So that's the tradition. So it becomes this is the family tradition, Eid. And we usually never go out with our friends during the first day of Eid.
Okay, so that's strictly
family day. Yeah. Friends come on the second day of Eid.
Okay.
Yeah, they're not allowed on the first day. Even if we're traveling somewhere, we usually travel on the second day.
Okay.
Not on the first.
I see. Yeah, and it must take quite a long time to prepare them as well, right?
Some of them take longer than others. This one with the icing sugar, this one takes the longest time. This is kahk. Yeah, this is the one made with natural.
This one.
This one.
Yeah.
It takes a long time to prepare, and it takes actually skill also.
Yeah.
So if somebody's not experienced, it doesn't come out well. That's why we go to grandma's house.
Yeah. Wow.
The others are easier.
Okay. I would not be able to prepare any of them, I have to say. So, what about these wonderful lamps that you have here? You mentioned these are like very specific to the time of Ramadan.
Yeah, that's true.
In Egypt.
And they actually have a historical story behind them. Because at the time when Amr ibn al-As came to Egypt to spread Islam, Egyptians already knew beforehand about him. And many of them already believed and were converted to Islam before his arrival.
Okay.
So when he arrived, his ships came late at night. So all the Egyptians came out to meet him with the lamps, with little lamps, of course at the time with candles or whatever, the lanterns, and they met him there. And this became a because he actually came in Ramadan. So it became a tradition that every Ramadan at night we should light these lanterns. In the past, we used to light them, not very past, it's time of my mom, for example, it was candles. Nowadays, we have lights and lamps and batteries, and some of them sing songs, Technology, has reached the fanus. We call it fanus Ramadan. So this one has here, it has an electric connection. It's electrical, but that's not, it looks like the traditional.
Yeah.
And it's made with the same material because it's made with some kind of like junk metal. You know what they use in truck art.
So what about just Ramadan in general? Have you noticed any differences in the way that it's celebrated or observed in Pakistan? Because I've heard from a lot of people that it's a little bit more quiet in Pakistan than elsewhere, maybe in the Arab world. Have you noticed that?
Well, in Egypt, I think it is unique. It is unique even amongst the whole Arab countries. That's why so many brothers from different Arab countries, they prefer to spend Ramadan in Egypt. The atmosphere in Egypt is more festive and cheerful.
Yeah, there's more going on.
Time. It is, of course. I mean, people who observe. I mean, the religious obligations, but at the same time, it's a cheerful atmosphere in Egypt.
Interesting.
So for us in Egypt, most of our celebrations, for every celebration actually, we have a dish.
Yeah.
We have something that we particularly cook on that day. So for Eid, for the Eid after Ramadan, that's what we cook.
Yeah.
For the Eid, the other one after Hajj, the Great Bayram, we have another set of dishes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mainly meat.
meat, rice and bread.
Rice and bread.
Yeah, that's what we cook on the other Eid, because of course we have to slaughter, and then afterwards we cook it.
So do you like Pakistani food then?
Yeah.
It's not too spicy for you?
For me it is.
Yeah.
The ambassador got used to it. The ambassador enjoys it. Enjoys it very much.
In the beginning, it was really well, because I'm a diplomat. I have been working as a diplomat for so many years. So I usually socialize with people from different cultural backgrounds, and then we exchange visits, and that's why the Pakistani food or the chili food is not something new to me. I already tasted it before. Either before coming to Pakistan, when I used to have friends from either Pakistan or India or other Asian countries, because it's usually the food is chili. But I was not used to eat it every single day. But when I came here, of course but I like it now.
And actually it uses the same things that we used to cook in Egypt. We use lentils, but here in Pakistan it's used in a different way. It's used like some kind of batter for fried food. For us, we use it as soup. Lentil is lentil soup. Here in Pakistan, again, the diet is based on mainly rice and bread, just like in Egypt. The meat, yes, again, we depend on, we don't depend, of course, because it varies from one place to the other. But we have meat and chicken, just like here in Pakistan, whether mutton or beef or this or that. The cooking, the way we cook varies. Some of our food in Egypt is cooked in the same way with the sauce, and some of our food is not cooked with sauce. It's either roasted or grilled. So it's in that sense it's a bit different. Of course, our food is not so spicy, but it's again because geographically we are in our part of the world, we don't have spices. That's why we don't use them. So
we used to import it from
here, this part of the world.
But in general, I find the food also, the Pakistani food, close to the Egyptian food. It's rice and meat and the chicken, and the way you cook it. It's when I look at the dishes as if they are. Some of them are
similar.
As if they are similar, are the same, as if they are the same. And
we have the paratha. We have the paratha. What you call here paratha is for us. We call it fatir. We cook it a bit differently, but it's the same kind of bread.
And the jalebi.
And the jalebi, we have it. We call it mushabbik. Exactly the same. Exactly.
Wonderful. And do you have any favorite restaurants here in Islamabad where you like to go?
I don't want to mention names as if, because it might be interpreted as if I'm doing some advertisement or
it's
free advertisement. But here in Pakistan, yes, they're beautiful restaurants, and we prefer usually the one that has a different atmosphere, that is located in a nice place or surrounded by nature. Because here in Pakistan, the nature is beautiful. It's really, it's amazing. So this is what we usually prefer. If we want to go out and sit somewhere or go to a certain restaurant, we prefer to go just not to go in an indoors restaurant. In an outdoors restaurant surrounded by nice view.
So how much of the country have you managed to see? Have you been outside of Islamabad at all?
Yeah, of course. We have been. I have been to Karachi several times. I've been to Lahore. I've been to Lahore recently together. And it was really very interesting. We visited the Royal Mosque,
Pakistan,
Minority Pakistan. We visited the traditional
and the Wagah border.
Wagah border. We went to Wagah border. So the country in general, I mean, is an amazing country. It's a beautiful country. It has also a great potential for tourism. And that's why I think, I mean, the government has taken a wise decision by trying to encourage tourism. Because the country also has so many beautiful, I mean, places to visit. Absolutely. The nature is beautiful, but at the same time, it has also a diverse history that can be also be promoted and attract tourists from everywhere. There is a misperception about Pakistan. I think the country needs to correct this misperception about the country and display the truth. That the country is stable, that the country is beautiful, the country welcomes the foreigners, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So from what I have seen, again, I mean, I can say that this country has, inshallah, a great potential for tourism.
Great. And do you think Pakistan is like a place that would be interesting for Egyptians to come as a tourist destination?
Yeah, I think so, because of the difference in the geography.
Yeah.
And the kind of scenery that we see here in Pakistan, at least in Islamabad, for example, is different from what we have in Egypt.
Yeah. Absolutely.
We have mountains, but our mountains look different. You here have this activity of hiking and mountain trekking. We also have something like it in Egypt, and tourists come particularly for that activity. So this is something that some Egyptians would like to do.
Yeah.
So I think Pakistan here is also very interesting that you have the 4 seasons.
Yeah.
And in Egypt, the weather is different, milder. So we don't get a chance to enjoy the middle seasons, the spring and the autumn, these seasons in the middle. Here, they are very, very clear. But on the other hand, I think also Pakistanis would love to come to Egypt because we have another set of sites that are not available here.
Yeah.
On the other, side of the story. For example, we have scuba diving. We have Ras Muhammad in the Red Sea. It's a protected area where you just go if you can do scuba diving or snorkeling even. Or if not, then we have these boats with glass boats, so you can see underneath. See the most beautiful fish in the world, amazing, amazing things that are only in this part of Egypt. We also have, again for Pakistanis here because they love mountains, we have very historically important mountains like Tur Sine. This is the mountain where Moses spoke to God. So this is a very, again, unique. It's not anywhere in the world. We have 2 seas. We have the Mediterranean and we have the Red Sea. Each one of them is different. The water itself feels different. People who are interested in water sports enjoy different sports here and there. The waves in the Red Sea are different from the waves in the Mediterranean. So we have deserts. Exactly. And we have monasteries in deserts. We have, inside the rocks, under the rocks. Of course, the ancient Egyptian, history with the pyramids and the temples. This is again something unique. So I feel every country has something particular. Every part of the world is worth seeing. Really, It's a person is lucky if a person manages to go everywhere. If we can,
And we also encourage, Egyptian businessmen to come here and do business.
Yeah.
And likewise, we encourage also Pakistani businessmen to go to Egypt and do business in Egypt. And recently, for example, I don't want to name the project, but we have an Egyptian investment here in Pakistan in the area of
real estate.
I would say it's a huge project of approximately $400 million.
So I've just been looking at these wonderful paintings you have here. Can you tell me a little bit about that? Is that like a hobby of yours?
Actually, they have been accumulating from one ambassador to the next. So they belong to the house.
Okay.
and here we have Egyptian paintings by Egyptian painters. This one here shows this is Ramadan, what we were just talking about. So you see this is an old Cairo, and whenever Old Cairo's portrayed, you can always see the mosque. The minaret of the masjid somewhere at the background. It's always there, and these are the flags. These flags usually little kids do. And here we have the mashrabiyya. I've seen something a little bit like it, but not much. In Lahore.
The old city.
This wooden covering for the window.
Yeah.
So that women could look through the window so they can see outside. Nobody can see them inside. So it becomes like a wooden covering.
Kind of a thing,
and actually it has in Egypt, I don't know about here, but it has this geometric detail that it has to the box, every box has to be 1 by 1 cube. Or, the centimeter of the square itself has to be equal to the depth of the piece of wood itself. So that it brings in the sun without the heat. And it shows the outside and not the inside. So it's very particular. And this is usually in old Cairo, particularly Old Cairo. This painting here is also another scene of Old Cairo.
Yeah.
Behind this, again, another scene.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it also shows the masjid, the minarets at the back. But this is older, than this one. It's an older, part of Cairo. Then if we look at the inside, we have here a painting of a woman, a farmer's wife probably. We call her Fallaha. And you can see the tattoo, a villager, traditional beauty. And the eyes and the kohl, it's very important. And here the tattoo, and the makeup and the earrings very Egyptian also. The way she dresses and the way she covers her head. We have another girl from Upper Egypt. Another painting shows another woman, another part of the country, with another dress. We also have here this man who passes with the incense. He passes around the streets with the incense and he reads, prayers and Quran, and people usually give him some money. We have the dancing horse. It's a tradition in Egypt. Horses dance. And there's a man who rides the horse and trains him, and this dance is portrayed in one of the paintings that we have here as well. So we have a good collection.
Yeah, such a beautiful house.
Thank you.
So now we finally reached the part of the program where I always ask my guests to write our visitor's book. So here we go. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Thank you, Maija, for an interesting interview. You are talented and professional. Thank you very much. And thanks to Indus News for joining us on Eid. On behalf of the government and people of Egypt, we'd like to wish all Pakistanis Eid Mubarak and wish Pakistan continuous peace and prosperity. So thank you so much for having me today, and thank you for these cookies and everything. It was a lovely day. Thank you.
Thank you, our pleasure.
Thank you for coming, and again, on behalf of myself and my wife, and on behalf of the Egyptian people and the government of Egypt as well, we wish all the Pakistani people and government, and we wish the Indus News Eid Mubarak, inshallah.
Khair Mubarak.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Maija.
Thank you. Okay, that's it for today. Please join me again next week. Eid Mubarak.